you know, of all the people I kind of tossed around in my head, at the end of the day, I want to do the hiss because that's what I call them, to the hiss. And hopefully that catches on. But I think with them, it was like, I decided I wanted them to do the session just because, you know, I thought that the 3-piece live experience, you know, should be recorded. Guys like them, it's like, put them in a room and they can get it done in 4 or 5 hours and just to kind of see, you know, what can come of that.
Purling Hiss is really loud. They're a very loud, very massive sounding band. So my main goal was to make that massive size translate really well into the final mix. For this session, we had the Telefunken M81 dynamic mic, the Electronaut M63 dual preamp, and the ZVEX Tremorama, UWA, and ringtone pedals. Starting with the drums, Mike played mostly our Tama drum set. It's a 1970s maple Imperial Star. It was a basic miking setup. The kick drum had a D112. The overheads were the Telefunken Elam 260s, placed in a recorder man setup. There was a Coles 4038 as a mono overhead, Shure KSM 32s on the toms. On the snare, we had the Telefunken M81 on top and an Audix i5 on the bottom. And on the room mics, we had a pair of fatheads that were heavily compressed going on the way in. Kyle brought his precision bass. He ended up plugging straight into our matchless Thunderman, which is a flip-top bass amp, 1x15 speaker, and we mic'd it up with our Neumann U67. Mike played a Strat into an Ampeg VT22. We had his amp blasting out in the same room as the drums. It was baffled off a little bit, so there's actually a good amount of bleed in the drum tracks, and that was mic'd up with a Beyer M160.
So we did bass, drums, guitar all at once with a scratch vocal, and then we did a guitar overdub because Mike wanted to double the solo and just have another guitar in there. So we had his amp. He loves his amp, and his amp sounds great. It's like his sound. You know, but also you're in the studio and you see all these different things around. And the one thing I noticed was the Supro, which is like, how did, you know, Led Zeppelin get those huge sounds? They used the smallest amp, you know.
The bi-amping was really cool because you got to mix in the character of both amps. We had the VT22 set up next to our tiny Supro and used the tuner to split signals out into both amps. We mic'd the Supro up with a Coles 4038, and the VT22 had the Beyer dynamic on it, and I also threw on the Telefunken M81.
I like doing the rhythms and the bridge, sort of.
Yeah.
And I think jumping the neck makes it stick out,
Yeah,
too.
totally. I guess producing-wise, I mean, I'm not going to sit in here and like go over charts with Kyle, you know, bass charts. But my role as a producer, I think, was just to kind of like let the song happen and keep everyone comfortable in the environment that they were in, because it was the first time that the band had recorded like this, and also the first time they'd recorded, I think, in like a hi-fi environment, you know?
You go to the neck, it's just like... Yeah, it changes. It's awesome.
Lolita, come back to me.
For the vocals, we ended up using the Telefunken M81, which is a handheld dynamic mic. That was running into the Electronaut M63 into a distressor. While I was setting this up, I just took a send from that vocal track, sent it back out through the other side of the Electronaut, back through a distressor. So it was bi-amped, bi-compressed, and had the input cranked so that the VU meter was pegged, and then turned the output way down. And it sounded really fuzzy, but not in a way that kind of clouded the sound. It just kind of accentuated the way that Mike was performing.
I think when you get results like we were getting, like, you don't have to worry about whether or not it's the right guitar sound or if it's the right drum sound, because at that point it's just a matter of like, was the band happy with the performance? What else do we want to do? So I could have like, you know, produced this band and like had them do that song 30 times, and would it have mattered? I don't know, probably not. So I think sometimes the best thing is to just let them do it. You do 1 or 2 takes and just move forward and just do it quickly. And like the little things don't really matter as much as you might think they do, you know? I think the only thing that comes across most is just like, just the spirit in the song. And if that comes across in the second take, then that's awesome.